Live from our studios here at Kokomlemle in Accra, this is Joy News Prime with me, Carlos Kaloni. Now, Joy News Prime is live on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, on all socials. We are Joy News. Is Finance Minister Ken Ofata on his way out? Rumors swirl in Parliament that the 2024 budget may have been his last major official assignment.
There is rumor all over that the Minister of Finance is going to resign, or they are sacking him in the coming days, and that this is his last budget. In fact, colleagues in Parliament is all over. So we have to say bye-bye to him.
We have details. Meanwhile, bauxite mining in Yini it begins soon. That according to the Ghana Integrated Aluminium Development Corporation, more as President Akufo-Addo urges GIADEC and its partner to justify his decision to set up an integrated aluminium industry as he received mineral resource estimate report from GIADEC.
That if we're able to do that, it would justify completely our thinking.
In the midst of the illegal mining destruction across the country, a citizen resistance is mounting in some communities. We'll bring you an excerpt from part 3 of latest Hotline documentary titled Poison for Gold. Also, state funeral held for former First Lady Theresa Kufuor ahead of final funeral rite on Saturday as her children say her compassionate but disciplinarian nature earned her nicknames like Chief Justice, the Law, and Severe. We are very much grateful you could join us here on Joy News Prime. Now, Majority Leader Oseche Mensah-Bonsu says claims that Finance Minister Ken Ofata is on his way out are just rumors, refusing to confirm or deny the rumors going around in Parliament. Now, yesterday, Minority Leader Dr. Kesel Atoforsen told Evans Mensah on PM Express the Finance Minister will exit. Now, the rumor mill has gone overdrive, and Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Ashanti now reports on the matter.
Ken Ofata has had a tortuous time as minister in the last 2 years. He has faced calls from within his own party to step aside or be sacked. There are now new claims he may be on his way out, according to Minority Leader Kesel Atoforsen.
There is rumor all over that the Minister of Finance is going to resign, or they are sacking him in the coming days, and that this is his last budget. In fact, colleagues in Parliament is all over. So we have to say bye-bye to him for messing us up, but his legacy is there for everybody to see.
What's the legacy?
His legacy. And you know his legacy. This is the Minister of Finance who knows how to borrow to benefit his personal business and those of his cronies. His legacy is that he will be remembered for destroying rival businesses. He will be remembered for destroying and bringing Ghanaian economy, particularly the financial sector, to its knees.
Minority Chief Whip Gavins Kwame Kuja also repeated the claims in an interview with me in Parliament.
Keep saying that the final flight of any pilot, he will try to perform the best takeoff and landing. This finance minister, if this is his last budget, which we are hearing, this is a very poor performance. And I'm not surprised that whilst the problems he created were not created by him solely, it was created with the blessing of the Dr. Bawumia, who is the chairman of the, the economic management team. Dr. Bawumia curiously decided not to follow him to Parliament today. The governor of Bank of Ghana also decided not to follow him. They've left him to hang out and dry.
But when I accosted the Majority Leader on this matter, he said they are just rumors.
There's an agreement that the Finance Minister will go. Is that information you have?
Who said?
The Minority Leader, Dr. Kesel Atoforsen, that the Finance Minister is on his way out. There's a certain agreement of something of the sort.
I don't know of that.
So the Finance Minister is staying?
No, if he's told you that, go and ask him. I don't know of that. Okay. So deal with rumors.
Another NPP MP, Paul Chumberima of Doma East, believes the minister will stay on.
I mean, going where? Coming from whom?
From the Minority Leader himself. Yesterday he spoke to
Minority Leader. Minority Leader is not the person who appointed the Finance Minister. So I'll be surprised to hear such a thing from me. You take it serious. I mean, clearly, I've not heard anything of such sort. I don't think with the good performance from the Finance Minister, so far, the things that we are seeing, the changes that we are experiencing, I don't think leaving, or anybody thinking of him leaving is a thought.
There was a guard of honor for him when he arrived at the ministry. It hasn't really happened in the last 7 years. He has been presenting budget.
I was not there, so I can't speak to that. I was not there, I can't speak to that. But all that I know that I've not heard of anything. I have no idea about what you are saying. Clearly, Kenneth Nanayao Tuntukno Furiata has delivered, and we hope that he will continue to deliver. As he said, we've turned the corner.
The Finance Minister Ken Ofata has survived 2 attempts to get him out of office. It was first the NDC minority who filed a censure motion to get him out. Eventually, when it came down to a vote, their colleagues on the majority side walked out, did not join them in voting on this censure motion, and the censure motion failed. Later, their colleagues in the majority themselves were up in arms, asking President Akufo-Addo to dismiss the Finance Minister. They made those demands to the President, who asked them to wait until the 2023 budget was presented and an IMF deal clinched. Those 2 events have all since come to pass, but Ken Ofata is still at post. This left to be seen if Ken Ofata will survive this latest attempt to get him out of office and these new rumors swirling around that he is on his way out. Reporting for Joy News, Ashanti, Parliament House, Accra.
Now, Minority Leader Dr. Keselatu Forsen has accused government of offering huge tax exemptions to companies that have close ties with government and has called for the scrapping of SAY before any meaningful conversation is had on the new tax measures. I beg your pardon. In a yet-to-be-aired interview with Evans Mensah, Dr. Forsen listed some of the companies and accused government of offering them questionable reliefs up to the tune of 5.5 billion Ghana cedis.
This government doesn't need new taxes in the first place. Because if you actually require revenue, you wouldn't give tax exemptions to companies that are closer to this government. And they, as soon as you just go to them and say, I'm closer to this government, and there's no format, they'll just allow you to, they grant you tax exemption. $459 million, 5.5 billion. Our position is, we will never have a conversation on these new taxes until they have withdrawn all of these tax exemptions. So first, you have a company under 1D1F called Agroho Ghana Limited. They are giving them $747 million tax exemption. Second, they are giving another company called Atonsu Pharmaceuticals Limited $1.9 million. Another company, B5 Limited, another amount of $11.4 million. BCAF Food Company Limited, $271 million. By O&J Pharmaceutical Limited, $159.8 million. A company called Canadian Commercial Corporation. They say they are doing power generation, so $1.8 million. Another company, CMAF, $8 million. You have here Cement d'Afrique Ghana Limited, $8.6 million. CK Engineering is benefiting from this tax exemption, an amount of $350,000. Then you have Continental Brew Investment Ghana Limited. They call it strategic investment. It's $6.8 million. Another company, Eco Poly Industries Limited, $207 million. It's 47 companies in all. If you want me to mention, I'll mention all of them.
Now, away from Parliament, mining activities are expected to take off within the Yini Forest Reserve in 2024, pending cabinet approval of a mining lease and parliamentary ratification. A mineral resource estimate conducted by Rockshaw, a private entity that will partner GEADEC to mine for bauxite in the Forest Reserve, estimate that the Yini Forest Reserve is endowed with some 375 million tons of bauxite in 3 Hills alone. Now, presenting the report to President Akufo-Addo at the Jubilee House, Deputy Minister in charge of Mining, Miriko Doka, said all is set for government to carry through the controversial mining operation in a forest reserve. My colleague Latif Idris was at the Jubilee House and has the rest of the story.
The initial plan to mine in the Yini Forest Reserve became controversial the very first day the idea was mooted. The justification has been that it will accelerate Ghana's quest to build a viable integrated aluminium and steel industry. However, the pushback has been massive. Members of the Yini community, civil society groups, and environmentalists have spoken strongly against the idea. Traditional authority within the Tunnel of Fame enclave in 2020 in a statement accused GIADEC of not being transparent as far as plans to mine bauxite in the area were concerned. But it appears government is having its way.
The Yini range has 10 hills. Pursuant to the MOU, Mr. President, Rockshore was assigned 3 hills, that is Hills 4, 5, and 6, to undertake mineral resource estimate in these areas. The purpose of the MRE was to assess the quantity and quality of bauxite resources available at these sites in accordance with international principles and standards. Mr. President, I am this afternoon, on behalf of my minister, happy to report that the MRE has been completed and now we know the quality and quantity of bauxite in these areas. And we are by this report happy also to indicate to you that GIADEC has collaborated well with Rockshore, and these 2 teams or institutions have the highlights of this report, and they will be presented soon to you, Mr. President. Suffice to say that the completion of the MRE paves way for us to move into the mining stage of the operation and present a promising opportunity for building an integrated aluminium industry here in our country.
CEO of GIADEC, Michael Ansa, said the quantity of bauxite identified in the Yini Forest and Range meets international standard and gives his outfit the confidence to approach financial institutions to help fund some projects.
Historically, we estimated that we had in the region of about 250 million metric tons of bauxite in the 3 hills we're talking about. That's hills 4, 5, and 6. Following the work that we've done now, we've been able to establish that we have a minimum of 375 million tons of bauxite in those 3 hills. 375, so a 50% appreciation. The other side of this is, having put that whole report together and identified the resource that we have, the next stages would be how we continue to develop it into a fully bankable project. We've done the development of all the project agreements relating to this. We're finalizing all of that. We're going to be establishing a joint venture company that will be owned by the partners, as in Rockshore and GIADEC.
It is estimated that Ghana is endowed with some 1 billion metric tons of bauxite across the country. However, the environmental menace created by activities of small-scale miners has triggered what has been a spontaneous opposition to the exploitation of bauxite, particularly in the Yini Forest Reserve. But President Akufo-Addo believes a successful implementation of the project will justify his decision to allow mining operations in the area.
You know, our role is to provide you the maximum support that you need to make sure that this whole thing becomes a reality. I think that if we're able to do that, it would justify completely our thinking, the whole GIADEC concept, that we will find a state vehicle that will bring together all the bauxite resources of the country under one roof, and therefore strengthen the hand of that entity to enter into these various transactions and things.
It can now be said with a level of certainty that mining would take place within the Yini Forest Reserve despite the opposition and the controversy. What remains unclear, though, is the footprint that will be left behind years after the mining company has packed out of the forest reserve. Latif Idris, Joy News, Accra, Ghana.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Integrated Aluminium Corporation, GIADEC, has disclosed the feasibility of mining about 500,000 tons of bauxite from Hills 1 to 6 of the Yini range in the Ashanti region. This follows the successful completion of the mineral resource estimate, underscoring major progress in constructing a bauxite mine with a refinery solution. Now, during a visit to the Ashanti, CEO of the corporation, Michael Ansah, indicated that environment and social impact analysis have been done to ensure responsible mining. Here's a report by Clinton Yebua.
In executing Project 2 under the integrated aluminium industry, the Ghana Integrated Aluminium Corporation announced a significant surge in the estimated quantity of bauxite resources in the Yini area in the Ashanti region. This was reviewed in the steps towards the realization of Ghana's national objective to add value to bauxite mining. CEO of Ghana Integrated Aluminium Corporation, Michael Ansah, announced a minimum of 375 million tons in the Hills 4, 5 and 6 of the Yini range.
This is the mineral resource estimation for a significant part of the Yini bauxite resources. And Rockshaw and GIADEC have been working together on the processes around how we begin to exploit the resources, develop an integrated plan, including mining and a refinery solution. Following all of this work, we've been able to establish bauxite reserves in the order of some 375 million tons in the Hills 4, 5 and 6 of Yini range. You recall that earlier on, GIADEC had carried out a verification of the first 3 hills in Yini, Hills 1, 2, 3. That came to 116 million metric tons. So together we are looking at some 500,000 tons of bauxite from Hills 1 to Hills 6 that have been qualified in line with international standards. And these international standards are a very important thing that this has been, MRE has been done in terms of the JOG standard. And therefore, that makes it a bankable project in terms of the standard of measurement that you can take to financial institutions as you look for resources to continue the project.
He made these statements in the presentation of the Minerals Resource Estimate results in Yini Block P of the Yini Hills in the Ashanti region to the Ashanti Otumfuo Osei Tutu II. Mr. Ansah said the mining feasibility studies have been conducted to ensure environmentally sustainable mining.
It's important that we recognize the important role that he plays in the Ashanti nation, as it were. We're mining in the Ashanti region, we're mining in Yini. Before we started the project, we came to see him. During the project, we've continued to report and to keep him abreast of what is going on. But in line with that, another thing that's a major concern to all of us, and indeed to several Ghanaians, is the whole environmental husbandry, because we're mining in Yini Forest Reserve. The work relating to the environmental social impact analysis has been done. All the issues around hydrology and biodiversity have been addressed, and this is going to be a very important thing that allows us to mine in a very responsible way. So that's a very important thing that I'm proud we have done this in line with international standards.
The Ashanti commended the management for their professionalism. He asked management to consider the company name Ashanti Bauxite. Reporting for Joy News, Clinton Yebua.
Now, joining us on Zoom is Aula Sewa. She's an environmentalist. Sewa, it appears the advocacy by civil society, including your own outfit, and the pushback by the people within the Tano enclave have all come to nothing. Looking at what is happening, mining will take place in Yini. What is your initial reaction to this?
Good evening. Thank you for having me. The initial reaction is disappointment, obviously. And looking at what's going on around the country, one is just not convinced that the mining will be done in such a way that the environment is protected. So we are disappointed, and we just have to see how best we can move forward.
All right. So the argument by government is that this will create jobs and also help boost local and national economy. Is that a fair justification to put forward by government?
Well, if your land has been polluted, if you are suffering from lung disease, if you can't have the kind of livelihood you used to have, of what use are the jobs? I mean, let me sort of take you back to, for example, the Afao Forest. Ask the people of Atonsu what the mining of bauxite has done to the once pristine Atonsu stream. I was given a sample of water from the once pristine stream. And the mining is being done by Ghana Bauxite Company. And according to activists in Atonsu, their activities have resulted in the pollution of their once pristine water. So of what good is it to them when you talk about job creation? In any case, we have to come to the realization that forest reserves are not for mining just because we found deposits there. They are other uses for forest reserves. Mining is not the only alternative.
All right.
Job creation can come from other sources, from the green environment.
All right, so we know that GIADEC says best practices would be deployed throughout the duration of the project. I believe that that assurance should give you some confidence that things will be done differently this time around.
I'm not sure anybody is convinced. I'm sure that this is what he means, and that may well be so. But the reality, when we look around the country, what is going on, it doesn't look like it's borne by the fact. I will go back to Ghana Bauxite Company and go back to the pollution of the Atonsu stream and also of their landscape. There are supposed to be environmental regimes in place, but their water has still been polluted. So I don't think anybody is convinced. People are apprehensive, and rightly so. And let me be very clear, the climate in the country right now is that since the passage of LI 2462, everywhere is fair game. To think that there was even the High Street Company even thought of mining in Kakum National Park, that tells you the kind of environment we have. And people are very, very disappointed in what is going on.
All right, thank you so much, Sewa Awula, for speaking to us here on Joy News Prime. Sewa Awula is an environmentalist. Now, still on mining, in the midst of the illegal mining destruction across the country, a citizen resistance is emerging in some communities. One of them is Atonsu in Bibiani and Bekwai municipality. The residents are leading a crusade against any form of mining to protect their farms and a beautiful forest and water source in that community. That is captured in the concluding part of Poison for Gold, a documentary produced by Erastus Asari Donko. Here are excerpts.
Atonsu is a small farming community in the Bibiani and Bekwai municipality. It is home to this beautiful forest and its serene water source, the Atonsu stream.
Perhaps this is one of the most cleanest water sources flowing through a very green, serene forest on my trail across Ghana. This is so clean, you can drink it. And this is the lifeblood of the farmers, the cocoa farms, pepper growing farms, other farms across this community.
Series of attempts have been made to give this land out for community mining schemes, but the community says no. 80-year-old Georgina Awotwe and others want any form of mining to be resisted.
Did you say you are bringing community mining here? These young ones are the reason we live and work. The mining will bring teenage pregnancy and truancy. The children will not go to school. Look at the devastation caused by mining on the Dunkwa Road. Look at how the buildings have been affected. Look at the polluted water bodies. Children are drowning in pits. We are saying we don't want any community mining. Give us better jobs, not mining. If the government wants peace, they should reconsider the decision to bring mining here. We don't want it.
Patrick Jaffet Danso, a farmer, and some residents are in court fighting to prevent the destruction of this green ecosystem.
If it is community mining, at least it is the community members who are to engage in it. But here is the case, they said two companies, Gido Mining Company, Aramzad Company, they are from somewhere that we don't know. The address can be found in Kumasi. So how come it is community mining? Now, the case is at the High Court. So until what we are seeking for, we want injunction to be placed on this community mining because we are not ready because of the consequences that we foresee. So no matter what, even if they are going to kill us, they should kill us and then take the land.
Me and my brothers and those who love the town, we are fighting. Even, I will say again, if they will kill us one by one, we shall fight until they stop what they want to do.
From mining, let's shift our attention to the court, where Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo is alarmed about the security situation of the judiciary. According to her, recent attacks on judges and judicial personnel is affecting justice delivery due to lack of concrete security measures at the court. Now, Justice Torkornoo has further revealed that many courts across the country are still under lock and key as a result of these security breaches, and warns that if the situation is not checked, can create more destruction in the country. She raised these concerns during an engagement on public safety between the Judicial Service and members of the Police Management Board.
Looking forward to discussions with you on how prosecution can become efficient, how prosecutions can become efficient, how we can work together in training, especially in evidence gathering, evidence preservation, in cyber security issues. I am particularly nervous currently about fake marriage certificates, fake adoption orders, these kind of situations. And I'm glad that CID is here with us. I'm also particularly nervous about lotto cases. It may be something that's not quite known, but it seems as if our country leaks so much from a parallel shadow industry in the lotto realm. I'm told, for instance, that next door in Côte d'Ivoire, they are making millions of dollars from lotto.
Now, the Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Bar Association, Xavier Kuja, joins us on phone for more on this story. Mr. Kuja, you've heard the concern by the Chief Justice. May we know the observation by the Ghana Bar Association on this particular issue of attacks on the court and how rampant this particular thing is?
Thank you very much, and good evening to your viewers. Yes, this is a major concern in recent times because there's been a few attacks on the judicial staff and the courts, including judges, to the extent that some judges had to leave post for some time. But I think that to be able to take care of all this, we need to do a lot of education as to how our adjudication process works.
Okay.
If people really understand how it works, I believe they will be patient enough to wait for the outcome of cases and will not think that at any stage of the case that they seem not to understand what is happening, they can intervene on their own accord. Again, I also like to appeal to opinion leaders in communities where courts are. Sometimes their interventions appear to rather be interfering with the judicial process, which I believe is raised, they don't seem to understand sometimes themselves or their supporters and natives mass up and go to the court. So I think that It is true, we have to intensify security there, but if we can do education, why do we expend money paying security officers to come there? Do we even have the numbers to go to every nook and cranny of this country where courts are located? So I think that we have to be disciplined enough, and we have to be patient to await the outcome of cases, because we are in court because we couldn't resolve the problems at home.
All right, even though you mentioned a lack of awareness on the work of the judiciary, the basic question will be, what is actually the root cause of triggering these attacks, and what can be done to actually avert it beyond just creating the awareness of the importance of what the judicial service does?
I think some of this attacks is purely, that's the way I see it, because if you take the recent standard, they believe that they would not, the perpetrator will not be dealt with, forgetting that everybody is presumed innocent until proven guilty in criminal matters. So I think that, of course, court users and the courts, especially the judges themselves and court administrators and court staff, should also conduct themselves in the manner that a lot of confidence will be reposed in the system, or people will have a lot of confidence in the system.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Kuja, for speaking to us here on Joy News Prime. You're still watching Joy News Prime with me, Carlos Kaloni. We have more after this break. Please stay. Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us here on Joy News Prime. Now let's take you to the Ashanti region, where the Asante Otunfosu II has asked chiefs to prevail on the government, including members of parliament, to account for stalled projects in the Ashanti region. Among these are the phase 2 of both the Kejetia Market and the Kumasi International Airport and road project, as well as the Konfanoche Maternity and Children's Block. Now, earlier this year, it was reported contractors had abandoned the project site of an unpaid arrears owed them by the government. Now, addressing the Ashanti Regional House of Chiefs, the Asantehene said chiefs should not sit aloof but demand answers.
Nananum, what are we also doing? I see a lot of chiefs going to the president for favors. Have we done the same for the airports and our roads? Let's ask ourselves.
Contractor man of contract or buy and yet never chose the amount of contract now. After near Brenozonia, then Nisika Yamfama no what was an Amanakacho. And T Monana no yet natural no one yet, Yansu ya said the NSA.
The regional minister has been appointed as caretaker, but what are we also doing as chiefs? We have to follow up to know what is delaying our projects.
The Yati, Mumian so young for one house is a Sumbetuana Mone, Yako, Naman Penuno, Safan. A diet here is a car come see a demand in fear saying near for my regional house is yes,
we should know if indeed there is no money to fund all these projects. Let us also seek answers from government on why the projects are not completed.
Standing committee.
We must be visiting these sites to see for ourselves what is happening. But have we? No, we haven't.
Now, Ashanti Regional Minister Simon Osemensa, in responding to the concerns from the Asantehene, said the project have stalled due to the government's inability to settle its debt with the contractors.
Maternity and Children's Block
Ena Keditia Central Market Phase 2 Ena Kumasi International Airport Phase 2 contractor no adekro contractor for Adarma wa Okwapa Ena Inyasa contractors ya de bia mekase wo for adwuma ya e badan si ni sa ne mana.
Your Majesty, the President intended to complete all these projects, including the Komfonochi Maternity and Children's Block, and also the Phase 2 of the Kititia Market and the Kumasi Airport. But the domestic debt exchange program came in, so government was unable to settle his debt. For now, contractors have left sites. Government is looking for other means to ensure that these projects are completed.
Airport, the airport no, na aka just 2%. Yewe obanche mu aduokon oche. Endi ba bia na ye duro no, na aka se ye be link the old runway no about the new terminal.
Now, away from that story, a state funeral has been held for former First Lady Theresa Kufuor ahead of her final funeral rite on Saturday in the Ashanti region. A tribute her children said her compassionate and strict nature earned her nicknames like Chief Justice, the Law, and Severe. Widower and former President John Agyekum Kufuor in his tribute also said Theresa Kufuor helped him to survive a 15-month jail term at the Ashford prison after an unexpected coup d'etat in 1972. Maxwell Agbagba has more in this report.
People from diverse backgrounds and political affiliations have gathered at the forecourt of the State House to bid their final farewell to the late former First Lady. Some mourners say this collective tribute underscores her inclusive legacy, transcending political boundaries. Despite her passing at the age of 87, the song from the choir here has left many in a pensive mood. In a heartfelt tribute, Edward Agyekum Kufuor, speaking on behalf of the children, said their mother was both compassionate and a disciplinarian, earning her numerous nicknames.
One of the earliest rules was that we couldn't claim ownership of things that we found in the house compound because it was your house. Everything, including the mangoes on the tree, belonged to you. If you were, we had to ask permission. The disciplinarian in you earned you many coded nicknames such as Severe, the Law, Chief Justice, and a few more. But somehow, you always knew it was you we were referring to.
Former President.
Moving on, but for the timely intervention of businessman Nana Kwame Bediako, a 13-year-old cancer patient, Ishmael Abokari, would have died of complications. Now, parents of the JHS1 pupil, who has always dreamt of becoming an army officer, have had to resort to traditional medicines as they could not afford chemotherapy services at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. There's more in the following report.
13-year-old Ismail Abubakar, a JHS1 pupil from Nandom in the Upper West region, was diagnosed with a cancer of the bone known medically as Osteosarcoma. The situation could only be managed with chemotherapy. His mother, a petty trader, could however not afford the cost of treatment and transportation from Nandom to the Kolebu Teaching Hospital in Accra, and thus they had no option but to resort to other ways of treatment. The young boy, whose dream is to become a military officer, saw his life and dreams dashing away from him as his condition worsened on a daily basis.
It started on February, 7th of February that we went to the hospital.
The doctors, they say it was osteosarcoma. So, yeah, we were here taking the chemo for 4 months, but due to financial problem, we were short. We didn't have anyone else to help. So we have to run back home for local treatment. And when we got home, we were doing the local treatment, but still, the case was worsened. It was worsened, yes.
But now young Ismaila and his mother can heave a sigh of relief as businessman and philanthropist Nana Kwame Bediako took care of the bills and transportation from the Upper West region to the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, where the affected leg was amputated to prevent cancer from spreading to other parts of the body. Nana Kwame Bediako says he is happy he's been able to touch a life.
I am with a friend that today is the first time I'm meeting him. And this kid was somewhere very far in Ghana, almost outside Ghana, and he was in a hospital, and his leg, he had cancer and it was rotten and it was coming all the way to the waist. And if he went above it, he was going to die. I was in Turkey when I had the phone call, and they couldn't drive him from there to Kolebu for this operation. So I had to organize a helicopter to go and pick him. On that note, I really want to thank the Ghana Armed Forces for helping me to make this happen. So we lifted him in a helicopter. He had a few days to die, but God saved him.
He also urged other philanthropists to help people like Ismaila, whose lives can be saved with just an act of kindness.
Well, I think this is one of the reasons why maybe this philanthropical moment could inspire some people to also do so or help. You know, I don't think I'm the only one that can help. There are a lot of people out there who are helping and are willing to help. And although I know that we don't have the right hospitals in the rural areas and everything, it's something that we should work hard towards, and we should pray towards a better future.
We'll take a break. We'll return with Showb. Stay with us. It's time for Showbiz, and guess what? JQ is here.
Hi, Kaloni.
What's up?
Well, nothing much. There's a lot happening in the showbiz world. But we're starting with the President of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo. He has called on African filmmakers to tell stories about Africa. He made this call during his address at the ongoing Africa Cinema Summit at the Moving Pig Hotel in Accra. Now, the president in his speech acknowledged the power of film in national development, and he urged the filmmakers to give premium to African culture whilst telling their story.
President of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo, is calling on African filmmakers to tell stories about Africa.
It's also an opportunity, finally, to have the world partake in the rich stories in our communities, to get our stories and narratives out there, and to tackle negative perceptions established about the continent. I urge all of you gathered in Accra today to continue to tell stories about Africa, our history, and our future. Tap into the richness of our culture and confront head-on the stereotypes that are detrimental to us.
Let's make an effort to tell the African story.
Yeah.
You know, most of the times when we portray most of our movies, we don't really depict the good part.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so from henceforth, we should do that. Now, Accra has claimed the top spot as the must-visit destination in 2024 in the latest report by CN Traveller. Now, the report says Accra has steadily been cementing its reputation as the continent's capital of cool and a reimagination of Pan-African heritage. That is Accra for you, the best place to be in.
Yeah, Accra is really beautiful.
Yeah, so for all the diasporans, they should be in Accra December and 2024. Yeah. Now, American rapper Snoop Dogg, I know you know Snoop Dogg, right? So in a post today, he says he's quitting smoking after it was once claimed that the rapper smokes cannabis 75 to 150 joints rolled for him every 24 hours. And basically, people have been sharing their views about this. Most people are of the view that he won't be able to stop. Just as you can see on the screen, someone says, protect them blanks, uncle. And this one also says, the withdrawals are going to be a big battle, but if you need a recipe, let me know. But Carlos, do you think he will stop?
Yeah, with hard work. It's not easy stopping smoking and all that, but if he's committed to it, I believe he can really, stop.
But 70 to 150
is a
lot. It's a lot.
I think that he should have started gradually, by just stopping, at once. I don't think it's
well, a lot of people are of the opinion that it would be very difficult. He posted it earlier today, and people shared their opinion. Some of them said there was another group of people who also said that he won't be able to stop. But I believe he would be able to stop, though.
Okay.
All right. So now, Throwback Thursday, as the funeral of the late Theresa Kufuor, wife of former President John Agyekum Kufuor, unfolded today, striking images of her as a young lady surfaced and prompting emotional reactions. Carlos, what are some of your fondest memories about her?
A lot. She's a calm and collected woman. I remember her for her softness and all that. So, yeah.
Yeah, same here. And most people have been sharing their opinions about that. And as I said, it happened today.
Yeah.
And may her soul rest in peace.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's all for Showbiz. And that's it for this particular bulletin. You can log on to myjoyonline.com for more stories. My name is Carlos Kaloni. Thank you so much for watching. Prime Business is up next with Emma Davis, the award-winning journalist.